Bertong kunat!
Daryong Dagul!
Ano tong balitang pinagkakalat mo dito sa baluarte ko, ha?
Anong balita?
Huwag ka na magmaang-maangan pa!
Ayun ba? Ha? Hindi ba totoo naman? Nasagi ang lunas sa COVID. Alam mo ba kung nasaan naman kang mayaw? Nasa naga talaga yun. At higit sa lahat, fake news talaga yung ads sa Revolution.
Ungas ka ba? Ano ba pinagsasabi mo? Saan mo pinagkukuha yan?
Huh, syempre, nag-research ako, no? Sa Tuktuk University. Palibasa kasi at umugot ka na at laos, kaya hindi mo alam yun. Ano, ha?
Lord naman! Magpaulan ka naman ng katalinuhan!
Reliable source of information, sari-saring content na isinulat ng mga eksperto, mga librong di kalidad na abot hanggang sa doomsday, tumawag ka lang sa akin. By the way, hindi ako si Lord. Ako si Vibal.
O pre, tingnan mo to. Di ba sabi ko sa'yo totoong EDSA Revolution?
Oo nga, no? O tapos ito, wala pala talaga sa Naga ang bulkang Mayon.
Sabi ko sa'yo eh.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
Bored na bored? Mag-V-Smart quiz na! With more than 2,000 questions from numerous topics, this app will keep you entertained habang nagpapatalas ng isipan. I-challenge ang sarili by choosing the level of difficulty. Makipagtagisan din ng galing at talino sa ibang manlalaro sa amang lupalop ng mundo. Para magkaalaman kung sino ang tunay na quizmaster. Sa V-Smart Quiz app, lahat ng stress and boredom will all be gone.
Hi! Mag-download na rin kayo ng V-Smart Quiz app.
Now available on Google Play Store and Apple App Store.
Good day, Kavibal, and welcome to our YouTube Live. For the discussion today, the topic will be on the challenge of the next normal, the emergence of a promising shift to hybrid flexible learning. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you're registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com or eturo.org to generate your proof of attendance. Share the video using hashtag LearnAs1PH as our official hashtag to our Vibal webinars. Experience learning, Kavibal. And now, to proceed with our webinar this afternoon, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker today. Her heart towards imparting learning to people boosted her desire to be an instrument in providing the students exceptional learning experiences, employing her skills, talents, and abilities inclined to realize the mission and vision of every educational institution. She graduated Bachelor in Secondary major in English, cum laude at National College of Business and Arts, where she was able to explore on college journalism career. She passed the board licensure examination for professional teachers on November 2015. Ms. Riberal worked on the high school department of the same institution she graduated in for a year. She found a new family at Divine Grace School and grew with them for 3 fruitful years. The school guided her to become a school paper advisor, an upper grade school teacher, a junior high school and senior high school teacher, a librarian, an event manager, host, and an assistant to the school principal. She took up units on Masters in Educational Management at Polytechnic University of the Philippines Open University. Currently, she is taking junior high school English at Bagong Silang High School, School Division Office of Caloocan City, with an advisorship for the English Club and a huge contribution on the BSHS Documentation Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Dian M. Liberal.
The way to make change is to see these challenges that we face as opportunities, said Adam Bello. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow, said John Dewey. Resilience doesn't just mean getting back to normal after facing a difficult situation. It means learning from the process in order to become stronger and better at tackling the next challenge, said Donna Volpita. Good afternoon and good day. It's time for a brand new experience, another awesome time to learn new things. This is Miss Dian Mateo Riberal once again. I am a junior high school English teacher at Bagong Silang High School. I would like to greet everyone who are with us today via Facebook and YouTube. To all of our Kavibal who are watching us live, and to those who will be watching this at their most comfortable time, thank you for the opportunity that you have given me today. Everybody, and to those who just got in our live webinar, I would like you to go over our comment section and know each other by sending in your teaching position or in what level you belong if you are still a student, and of course, the name of your school. Alright, before we start our discussion, I would like you to identify the distorted images to be flashed on the screen. Also, type in your answers on the comment box and let us see how familiar these logos are to you. If you are ready, kindly hit the thumbs up. That's great. Let's begin. consider all of these applications useful to us these days. From social media to quiz apps and video editors. Without a doubt, we might all be hearing these new terms in education because of its adaptive characteristic. As for today, we will be discussing some. Pre-pandemic, teachers are used to, and we may even call some as experts when it comes to normal on-site or classroom teaching. 21st century teachers even made ways to incorporate information and communications technology or ICT in classes. From the usual chalk and board, Manila papers and cartulinas, we made it possible to projected PowerPoint presentations, virtual labs, educational mobile and computer apps, and so on. During the time of COVID-19, education paused for quite some time due to safety reasons. But on the same year 2020, Department of Education, under the supervision of Secretary Leonor Briones, rejected the call for academic freeze. DepEd believed that learning must not stop. Learning must not be hindered by anything. And so we believed and took action. Students, the teachers, the schools, the communities, and other stakeholders, the whole country, and the whole world adjusted so education can continue and adapt to the ways to pursue learning. This webinar, our goal is to provide an overview of what a hybrid flexible learning is and what effects could it bring to the educational system of the Philippines, most especially during this time of pandemic. At the end of the session, the viewers must be able to define what HyFlex learning is, distinguish the transition of teaching styles from traditional to blended and hybrid to HyFlex learning, and determine the pros and cons of HyFlex learning in general and in Philippine context.
We usually encounter this model in webinars. This technology-enhanced course model spectrum explains the difference of each learning modality that we currently know. As per our reference, face-to-face learning is an instructional method where course content and learning material are taught in person to a group of students. This allows for a live interaction between a learner and an instructor. It is the most traditional type of learning instruction. Learners benefit from a greater level of interaction with their fellow students as well. In face-to-face learning, students are held accountable for their progress at the class's specific meeting date and time. Face-to-face learning ensures a better understanding and recollection of lesson content and gives class members a chance to bond with one another. Face-to-face learning is essentially a teacher-centered method of education and tends to vary widely among cultures. Many modern education systems have largely shifted away from traditional face-to-face forms of educational instruction in favor of the individual student's needs. With blended learning, instructors and facilitators combine in-person instruction with online learning activities. Learners complete some components online and do others in person. Hybrid learning is an educational approach where some individuals participate in person and some participate online. Instructors and facilitators teach remote and in-person learners at the same time using technology like video conferencing. Both types of learning involve a mix of in-person and online learning. With hybrid learning, the in-person learners and the online learners are different individuals. With blended learning, the same individuals learn both in person and online. Online learning is a method of education whereby students learn in a fully virtual environment. First introduced in the 1990s with the creation of the internet and utilized in distance learning. Online learning is most prevalent in higher education, enabling students from different geographical areas to engage with an academic institution and other students online and learn flexibly at their own pace while working towards a degree or certificate. Online learning refers to an internet-based learning environment that can connect students of diverse backgrounds who boast different perspectives. A higher education institution will use a learning management system or LMS to facilitate online learning, which can take the form of asynchronous learning or synchronous learning. Let me show you a simple video representation of what HyFlex learning could be. Please lend your eyes and ears on the video presentation.
Oh hey, I'm Minch the Finch, and this is my classroom. The other day the news said these huge space rocks might hit the Earth. It was so crazy. So a few of us couldn't go into school. We were stuck at home. Mr. Beekman couldn't believe we were gone, but he found a way to fix things real quick. Honestly, I thought we might get the day off. But with this thing, it was just like being back at school. We hardly missed anything. Mr. Beekman rode on it. Then he shared some pictures on it. And he even showed us some really cool movies. And even moved our seats all around so we got to work with different people. The green one is Polly. She's my favorite science partner. Sometimes I got to work with my whole group. And if I didn't know the answer, someone else could raise their hand and save the day. Oh man, one day Cuckoo got called on and drew a rocket on the board and chipped through an alien ship. Then they pretended they were battling around space, pew pew pew, and made the moon explode. Mr. Beekman muted that real quick. I know I wasn't really at school, but it kind of felt like I was, which was pretty cool, especially when I got to wear my pajamas one day. Don't tell Mom.
We have gone through the normal. We are currently walking in the new normal. And now, the next normal is waving before us with a promising point of view, which goes with us in the same denominator, which is to give our students an exceptional learning experience amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, it is through HyFlex learning. Let us first give meaning on what a HyFlex learning is. HyFlex combines the terms hybrid and flexible. Hybrid learning refers to learning that integrates complementary face-to-face and online learning experiences in service of intended learning objectives. All students in a hybrid course are expected to undergo the same combination of online and in-person activities. In contrast, the flexible aspect of HyFlex is that students are given choice in how they participate in the course and engage with material in the mode that works best for them over the course and from session to session. In HyFlex courses, students can choose from one of the three participation paths. 1. Participate in face-to-face synchronous class sessions in person. 2. Participate in face-to-face class sessions via video conference. 3. Participate fully asynchronously via chosen LMS. A HyFlex class makes the class meetings and materials available so that students can access them online or in person, during or after class sessions. All students, regardless of the path taken, will achieve the same learning objectives.
To continue, Dr. Brian Beatty, an Associate Professor of Instructional Technologies in the Department of Equity, Leadership Studies, and Instructional Technologies at San Francisco State University, designed this multimodal course, which, based on research, had been successful in other countries, especially in tertiary and graduate level. Locally, this learning modality already piloted in some colleges and universities here in the Philippines, and were done with commendations. Try to have a recap. For example, I am a teacher facilitator. One part of the class will be with me, attending in person. One part of the class will be attending and engaging with us over Zoom or Meet. And the other part of the class will be engaging with the class through LMS. HyFlex Learning produces 3 learning modes at the same time. Can you please re-identify those? Type in your answers on our chat box below or on the right-hand side. Keep your answers coming. Alright, if your answers are face-to-face, online synchronous, and online asynchronous learning, then you got it right. HyFlex learning, according to Dr. Beatty, is grounded from 4 major values or principles. First, we have alternatives. Since this modality is inclined to being a student-centered one, HyFlex gives the learners a freedom to choose how to attend classes. As per our reference, HyFlex provides meaningful alternative participation modes and enables students to choose between these participation modes on a daily basis, weekly, or even choose a mode for every topic. Second, equivalency. HyFlex makes sure that all activities and lessons are specially designed so that no student from the 3 groups will be left out or left behind. Third, reusability. It means all of the materials we used for those who will attend in person could also be used for those who are participating synchronously online and for those who is engaging asynchronously online. May it be the discussion pieces or the activities. Last, we have accessibility. Students should have the access to all the participation modes. They should be free to choose coming to class in person. They should be able to go online synchronously and also asynchronously. Now, some of us here today are either teaching in a government institution or in a privately owned school. There might be also students who are with us this afternoon. And you may be asking how we could deal with hybrid or HyFlex and what are the possible pros and cons of it. Taking note of our lecture, let us make use of our chat box again as you express your thoughts. Can you please send in your worries or, on the other hand, relief if ever HyFlex learning would be implemented all over the country?
Let us now talk about the elements of a HyFlex course. A HyFlex course is a technology ecosystem that supports online learners. Some teachers, parents, or even students had doubts during the transition of hybrid blended learning. They are thinking a lot of what ifs, including the fact that face-to-face attendees will be catered more than those who are engaged online. You're thinking that online people may be left out. But in this course, there is an equal focus on all three modes of learning: face-to-face, online synchronous, and online asynchronous. Second, we have courses that are designed with online delivery in mind. Students online and face-to-face may be dealing with different learning processes, but they will all be led to one learning outcome, which is the goal of HyFlex learning. Third, teaching methodology that incorporates online best practices. In this part, facilitators must be able to prepare activities, lectures, discussions, which will encourage good participation from online learners from both synchronous and asynchronous classes. And student and faculty learning technology support. Of course, because of the technology-inclined nature of HyFlex learning, teachers, students, and everyone who may be of help should be able to undergo trainings, mock-ups, seminars, and testings so that HyFlex won't be a burden to the institution. Instead, become a successful modality to address all the students' needs. Just like Viba's tagline, we learn as one. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons of HyFlex learning. First, learners can choose a learning or participation mode for themselves. They may either change their mode of learning or MOL every day, every week, or even every topic. For the possible negative side, learners may be choosing only the most convenient way for them and not the best option for their needs. Second, it accommodates diverse needs of every learner in gaining knowledge. For the negative side, it is very labor-intensive for curriculum designers and teachers. As a result, organizations may want to set criteria and prioritize which courses become HyFlex. Third, students from on-site, online synchronous, and online asynchronous could build a good relationship with each other because HyFlex gives them a chance to interact well. It also gives opportunity to develop valuable course materials that can be repurposed for future classes. On the other hand, HyFlex is potential for tech issues to impede learning. Teachers cannot do all the work alone. This setup is dependent on the availability of a teaching assistant or course assistant. What can you say about the advantages and disadvantages of hybrid flexible learning here in the Philippine context? Are they the same of those things that you have been thinking in your minds? You may comment down your suggestions and queries so that we could take note of it. And we cannot say it might be discussed on the next webinar series of Vibal. Now let us take note of the opportunities that we could get if we engage or we involve ourselves into HyFlex learning. First one is flexibility. Flexibility benefits students with competing jobs, family, and health circumstances, leading to more equitable access to education and equality in learning outcomes. So with this case, if you are flexible, you will be able to manage your work-life balance in your future work. Next is it exposes students to potential uses of technology and increases students' technological savvy. After one has gone through his or her tertiary level and is applying for work, the atmosphere that he or she has been because of HyFlex learning can help him or her be one step ahead when it comes to knowing what technology to use or when to use it best. Third, recorded lectures and other asynchronous course materials can be repurposed in future semesters to supplement a face-to-face class or as an accessible option for students who face challenges attending in person. As included in HyFlex Learning, no student will be missing any of the discussions, lectures, because all of them will be available on their chosen LMS. Last, early research results suggest that learning outcomes in HyFlex classrooms, such as test scores, motivation, need satisfaction, and perceived success, are comparable to face-to-face classrooms. Successful HyFlex classes presented commendable results and made sure all students were able to meet the learning outcomes as planned. Let us take note of the challenges. Teaching a HyFlex course of any size requires a high degree of coordination. Simultaneously addressing the needs of in-class and remote students is challenging for even the most experienced instructors and can create excessive mental load. In this matter, we can say that before the implementation or full implementation take place, the teachers, students, and other people in charge should be confident enough that they are trained for HyFlex learning. Overload of teaching assignment is not recommended. Remember, a teacher should be handling 3 different groups in a specific class. Next, the presence of recording technology can make teachers very aware of their teaching performance and can cause them to act differently. It is very true every time. Let us take note, for example, during class observations. We may confess or not, but some teachers tend to act different from a regular teaching day from an observation day, which in fact should not reflect. Same goes with this one. Teachers and students may be so conscious with all of the technology present and might be shy in expressing himself or herself. Third, it requires a high degree of facility with relevant technology, and technical challenges can impede remote learners' success. In the local setup and based on my co-teachers' ideas and my friends, government schools here in the Philippines cannot adapt automatically in this kind of setup. Why? It is not unless good amount of training, fund, and facilities would be available for the school to cater the students. The local government, with the promising support of all of the community stakeholders, must come and move hand in hand to address the needs of our young learners.
Those who are tuning in, and good afternoon those who are on our FB Live. Yes, we're live on our multimedia club page for those who will take the asynchronous. Before we start, let's stand up and let's have our opening prayer.
Offer to this morning everything that we are about to do. Every task that we
Good afternoon again, everyone. You may now take your seats for those who are here. And for those who are in Google Meet, can you please at least open your cameras for us to see you here?
Ma'am, Karat, I already checked the attendance ko.
Right, thank you so much, Nicole, for that update. Okay, and now, our topic for today, for this week, is all about how to prepare and interpret technical drawing, specifically flowchart. Okay, but before that, let us have this let's try activity. Alright, for our let's try activity, this is to assess your prior knowledge with regards to what we are about to discuss for this week, and for me to assess if you're really reading your modules in advance. So the direction here is you are going to match, okay, the column A from column B. So you will be raising your hands for those who are face-to-face and to those who are in a Google Meet to answer the question. Okay, who will do number one? Number one is from here, from face-to-face. Read and answer. Yes, read it. Number one, it's represented by right now. It's Okay, so number one is, yes, very good. That is process. So clap your hands. Yeah, grade 7 kayo eh. Okay, next, in the Google Meet, how about Nicole? Google Meet.
Number 2, it is represented by a diamond, a process that can answer a decision by yes or no. So number 2 is letter A, decision.
Okay, number 2 is what is another name for personal computer? A, desktop computer, server, hardware, CPU. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. Yes, very good. Windows, Android, iOS, and macOS are examples of online applications. True or false? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, the kinds of flowchart. To create a flowchart in accordance to a specific job and to recognize the importance of preparing flowchart. So before we go on, let's have this motivational quotes. Okay? So it says there, don't go with the flow, be the flow. Okay, who would like to
Rather
share?
than just sticking with the system, I think as a student myself and as a woman, of course, we're celebrating Women's Month, we should learn how to be the flow, how to take a stand and to take actions and responsibility alongside with it.
Yes, you will see the result. But for this demonstration, this is all. Okay, do you have any question? That's it. We're done. Do you have any question? How about on Google Meet? Do you have question? None at all. Very good. Okay, so to assess if you have learned something from this lesson, can you please go to your quizzes? Okay, we have 11, 12, come on. Okay, you have 1 minute to answer this. Six, 5, 4, 3, 2, and time's up. Let's see who's on the leaderboard. 13! Yes, congratulations, Nicole, on Google Meet and Kimwell. And the rest of this, very good people. Gabo, Jose, Taratay. 6 got perfect. 7, 8. Let's just make this, let's remember, clear to everyone. The technical drawing is a graphic and technical communication tool. And flowchart is the simplest way to demonstrate the parts of the planning system. And we have 2 kinds of flowchart, the linear and the deployment. And all of them are what has their different elements of flowcharts, and the rest will undergo to their development stage. Okay, so do you have any question about this? Let's apply here. Okay, you can get your notebook. For those who want to Google Meet, please get your notebook with you and do this. Make a linear flowchart. This is just at least 2 minutes activity. For those who are on the Google Meet, can you open your cam? For those who are working, okay, let me see nga, Nicole. Let me see your paper. Okay, notebook. Okay, very good. How about August? Very good. How about Lasin? Okay, very good. How about the others? Can you show you're working? Okay, very good. So that would be for 1 minute, and then I will be calling. I guess go.
Cleaning computer parts. Number 1, make sure that your computer is first shut down.
and electrical power. Number 2, ready your equipment like tripod, cleaning agent, etc. Then next, proceed on carefully cleaning your computer parts. Make sure that you put a glove to avoid grounding while cleaning. Then last, put everything back in place, then put your final touches.
Very good, everything. How about Google Meet? Nicole, are you ready? Okay, go.
Okay. So what I did po was,
Which
on the
one?
first one is the oval. So turn off or shut down your computer. Turn off or shut down your computer, and then for the next one, the parallelogram, I input all the materials I will be using, like the fiber cloth, some brush with small particles, probably a toothbrush, and then on the rectangles, I put here the process that I will do. So number 1 is to wipe the monitor. So I'll be wiping that first, and then follow po, I will wipe the hardwares. So probably the keyboard. So I'll use the microfiber cloth to wipe the monitor, and then I'll use probably the toothbrush to wipe the keyboards and the excess dust around it. And then for the next one is I could finally turn it on or make use of it again.
Wow, very all right. Now let's go to, and your guys' evaluate will be on your Brightspace, of course. You will answer the Google quiz there. Okay, it's in a Google survey form. Just answer it, and then it will be recorded. All right. So, any question? Is there any question? Are you
None at
sure?
None at all.
How about on the Google Meet? Any question?
None at all po.
None at all on their
Alright,
side.
so thank you very much. And before we end this class, let's have a closing prayer. Can we stand up for those who are face to face, and those who are on Google Meet? Just close your eyes and let's keep our presence in the Lord. Amen. And thank you very much. See you next week, guys. See you next week for those who are in the Google Meet. And everything will be on your Brightspace account, okay? So keep updated. What do you think are the things that we need to prepare for a HyFlex learning course aside from the tech?
Kindly chat in your responses in the comment box below.
On the checklist given by www.nea.org, we should be able to consider the following. For health and safety, number 1, protocols for in-person hygienic procedures, including daily monitoring, disinfection, and cleaning. Number 2, protocol for when someone gets sick. 3, daily check-in on students' social and emotional well-being. And 4, consider additional needs of under-resourced students.
Equity. Resources such as lessons, materials, and activities must adhere to the Universal Design for Learning guidelines to ensure accessibility for all students. Also, classroom and lessons reflect the cultural capital of the diverse body of learners.
For community, use technology to infuse connectedness and opportunities for peer-to-peer interaction using breakout rooms, chat box, and/or polls. 2. Develop expectations for students and provide opportunities for students to revise and modify, where developmentally appropriate, co-create expectations. 3. Emphasize the value of the diverse perspectives that students bring to the classroom and model active engagement in these perspectives. Communication. Number 1, establish communications protocols and set office hours and communicate with the students and their parents. Number 2, keep contact information for students up to date. For technology, help students and families on how to use technology for online learning. plan for students without devices or internet connectivity. Establish and review netiquette rules for online behavior. Check to ensure the apps you are using make sure to comply with child protection laws. Provide students and families with online safety and student privacy information. Identify technical support personnel. For student learning instructions, first, set clear learning objectives and goals for each lesson. Break instruction into mini lessons that provide students with opportunities to respond or actively engage using the chat box, polls, quizzes, student response tools, or breakout rooms for small group works. Provide opportunities for differing modes of completing assignments. Incorporate frequent brain breaks and opportunities for physical activity. Consider how to balance synchronous and asynchronous instruction to maximize active learning, student engagement, and differentiation. Record and post your lessons online. Identify opportunities to apply project-based learning. And identify assignments that are appropriate for a flipped class. For the evaluation, use formative assessments and provide frequent feedback. Use project-based learning as an alternative to testing to evaluate students' understanding.
We have already discussed most of the points we need to know about hybrid flexible learning. The question now is, why should we give HyFlex learning a chance for our country's educational system? First, there are a huge number of working students in the Philippines. Because of their busy and compacted schedules, some of them gave up studying and worked full-time instead. Second, we have students who are young parents who wanted to continue their studies in spite of their existing family obligations. Also, without a doubt, internet connectivity is not stable in most parts of the country. Another, most communities that surround us doesn't give us a peaceful environment to study intensively and quietly. There are more concerns which are addressed by this hybrid flexible learning modality. It allows every learner to have a freedom to choose how he or she learns and cope up with the lessons. HyFlex gives every learner an opportunity to accomplish tasks and activities on his or her own pace and ways, taking note that he or she achieves a good learning outcome. In HyFlex learning, no one should be left out. Through this learning modality, all of the activities, lectures, resources, video lessons, and discussions specially designed and engineered by the teacher facilitators, it will all not be put to a single use. Instead, such will be repurposed in the coming years. Through HyFlex learning, everyone will be having their access to all learning modalities which is best for him or her, in consideration of acquiring the best educational experience a student could have, especially in this time of pandemic. As said by William Spady, all students can learn and succeed, but not in the same way and not in the same day. Ignacio Estrada also said that if a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way they learn. Finishing this day's sharing, let us ask ourselves, are we taking the challenge of the next normal? Are we ready to learn and to let ourselves be equipped as we held on to the promising shift of this hybrid flexible learning modality?
This has been Miss Dian Riberal quoting a line from Arthur Clarke. The only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible. Good day and thank you, Kavibal.
There we have it. In behalf of Vibal Group Incorporated, I would like to thank our speaker for today for this eye-opening and insightful learning session. It is an honor to have you with us today. And to all our Kavibal viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. Don't forget to register to get your e-certificate of participation. The link is in the caption of this webinar. We encourage you to subscribe and watch our official Vibal Facebook and YouTube channel. Muli, maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat.